The Procrastinating Perfectionist, a journey from hero to guide. As you start to walk on the way appears. Rumi. I'm a perfectionist. There, I said it. I like things done right, and preferably right the first time. The problem is I often found myself procrastinating, not because I was lazy, but because I had convinced myself that if I couldn't do something perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. It was a strange kind of delusion. I was trying to get good before I got going, which of course is not how life works. You don't become a good preacher before you preach, a good writer before you write, or a good leader before you lead. You get going and then you get good. As I reflected on this, I couldn't help but think about Jesus' parable in Matthew 25. 3 servants are entrusted with something valuable, but only one allows fear to keep him from acting. He ends up losing what he was given, not because he lacked potential, but because fear convinced him that preserving it was stewarding it. I wonder how many of us do the same thing. Not because we are rebellious, but because we are afraid. Afraid to start before we feel ready. Afraid to create before we feel qualified. Afraid to move because we have mistaken preparation for obedience. But perhaps Jesus would remind the procrastinating perfectionist that faithfulness is never about perfection. It's always about stewardship. So maybe this is your reminder, and mine. Stop waiting to become perfect before you begin. Write the thing. Start the business. Launch the idea. Record the video. Take the risk. As I've been thinking about the kind of content I want to create moving forward, I've realized something important. For a long time, I approached platforms like this one as opportunities to teach, to share what I know, to provide answers, to say something valuable enough that others might benefit from it. But lately, I've realized I may have been sitting in the wrong seat. I don't want to be the hero. I want to be the guide. Following Jesus is never about projecting mastery. It's about practicing obedience and slowly, imperfectly, and consistently working his words into everyday life over time. That means this space won't simply be a collection of thoughts or theological reflections. In many ways, it will become a record of my own journey as I try to live out the teachings of Jesus in the modern world. Some weeks I'll write about theology. Other weeks I'll share thoughts on formation, culture, or leadership. I'll share books I'm reading, podcasts I'm listening to, and occasionally updates from Kingdom South as we continue building our community there. But underneath all of it is one simple invitation. I'm working the words of Jesus into my own life, and I'd love for you to join me. What I'm reading. A View from the East Wing by Jill Biden. I didn't know much about her, but I have enjoyed this book. Her POV is unique as the wife of former President Joe Biden. If you're interested in the Biden White House behind the scenes, I'd highly recommend this read. What I'm listening to. The Prof G Pod with Scott Galloway. This episode is called The Business of Media, 60 Minutes, Billionaire Owners, and the Podcast Economy, featuring Sarah Fisher. This was a great pod episode. I'm fascinated with the media industry. It's a huge part of my strategy for building out this ecosystem. It requires a steep learning curve, but I'm committed to the process. What KS is up to. Sunday is Father's Day, and at Kingdom South, I'm thinking a lot about the culture we create around honoring men. We've learned to celebrate mothers well, as we should, but I also want to help build a church culture where fathers are seen, valued, and celebrated with the same intentionality. This Sunday feels like a good place to start.